Well, we've had plenty of news today, and what next for Fiat and the car industry as a whole? Well, to tell us more on that, I'm joined by Global Insight's auto analyst Paul Newton. Paul, thank you so much for joining us here today. Now, in terms of what we've been hearing, not only from Fiat, but it does look like there are pretty tough conditions out there for the European car industry, and they'll remain so for quite some time.
Absolutely, and in actual fact, Fiat aren't necessarily representative of the auto industry right now. They're doing really quite well in terms of car sales, and those car sales are turning a profit for the company as well, or the auto division anyway. So, you know, Fiat is doing quite well out of it. The industry itself, 2010 still doesn't look like a good year.
Now, Paul, Fiat is doing quite well thanks to some of their smaller models. The Cinquecento, for example, was quite a success. What does the European consumer want today from their cars? Small and cheap or desirable?
Well, I think in the current austere environment, and certainly the incentivized environment, we're seeing a lot of people go for smaller, cheaper, economical models. Whether that's a long-term trend, after post-incentive, you'd have to look seriously at that. We still think that downsizing is the way forward as more emission regulations come in, but this is a bit of a spike, it's a bit of an anomaly, and again, it's mostly driven by these incentives, which are sort of skewing the market.
Paul, in terms of what we saw from the CEO, Sergio Marchionne, now he successfully brought Chrysler, but he didn't get Opel. He has this ambition of becoming the world's second largest car maker. Do you see him going after any other targets?
Right now, I think they're going to have their plate full with absorbing Chrysler, and there's no question that with the way Fiat's management structure is spread currently, with guys going to the US to look after Chrysler, that you know they're going to take some time to absorb this, to make this work, and I don't see them looking for obvious acquisitions right now. I think that you know they've got enough on their plate.
Paul, talk to me about the Opel saga. Now, every week we say they're going to sign, they're about to sign, maybe they'll sign tomorrow, no, maybe it's later, and we still don't hear. GM doesn't want to let go, does it?
Well, I think we just heard a few minutes ago a key statement, and that was from GM's CEO. And basically, he's gone and backed the Magna bid again. Now, the EU have effectively given him a window, and prior to a couple of weeks ago, he may have taken that, but you know, he's publicly said now, actually, no, we're going to stick with the Magna bid. And I think the way they've gone down that far down the road, they've ironed out their differences with Magna and their Russian interests, and I think that you know we'll see that ratified in the next few days. Oh,
really? In the next few days, an actual signature? You think they can move that quickly?
Say again, sorry?
You think we'll actually get an actual deal in the next couple of days?
Yeah, I do.
Paul, in terms of course, the incentives we've had over the scrappage schemes, would you, as a car analyst, ask the governments to continue this? Otherwise, we're going to have practically a non-existent car industry.
It's very difficult to know what the post-incentive environment is going to be like. Most countries, the UK included, has extended their scrapping scheme. The big one is Germany. They still, most people are convinced they're not going to go back in. But I think what we need to see from governments is a structured return to a normal market, but that structured return to take a reasonable amount of time, and for them to also inject enough money so as we don't see a collapse in car sales, and we'll hopefully rejoin something like normal market conditions in late 2010.
Paul, talk me through some of your favorite picks. I mean, I know you believe, for example, Fiat's doing quite well in Brazil, and Brazil is a strong market and remains is expected to remain so for the next couple of months. Is that where we're going to see growth, and is it the companies that are doing well in emerging economies that will do better than the rest?
Yeah, I think that's most definitely a trend, and I think it's one that we'll see continue. Yeah, for sure.
Do you have any top picks? I mean, is there anything that you would say actually Fiat is a good, it looks like a good car company, but the luxury?
Fiat themselves have got they're doing very well because they're in South America, in an emerging market there, which pretty much underpins a lot of their automaking business. So, you know, the Fiat are in a situation where they're already under the EU CO2 limits. Say again?
Thank you so much, Paul. Unfortunately, that's all we have time for, but still to come later in the show.